Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for October the 30th, 2020. Got the Halloween spirit going here with a little bit of Freddy Krueger for you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate your viewership and support. Shout out to the chat room as always, and thank you to everybody watching this on demand. We are coming off the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Let's go ahead and get started with the recap. We had Jey Uso in the ring, and we had a recap of Hell in a Cell. Roman Reigns was out there with Paul Heyman. Uso grabbed the microphone from Heyman, talked about how Reigns did not beat him at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view because Reigns used a dirty tactic to get Jey to say I quit. Reigns had to attack Jey's brother Jimmy and hurt Jimmy in order for Jey to say the words. Reigns said that Jey can make all of the excuses he wants, but the fact of the matter is that Jey did quit. And Reigns instructed Jey to take the oath and fall in line. Jey talked about how what Reigns did was a sick move and he cannot get down with Reigns. Reigns then responded by saying the consequences are real and talked about how the highest of the chiefs, the Wild Samoans, Reigns' dad Sika, they are behind the tribal chief Roman Reigns, and so are the youngest members of the family. And Reigns once again said if Jey does not fall in line, he will be out of the family. Jey said that he hates Reigns for doing this to him. He got really emotional, very upset, and Reigns responded by saying he loves Jey, but by the end of the night, Jey will in fact fall in line, and then Jey just completely broke down and lost it. Nice opening to the show. Well done stuff here. This continues to be the most intriguing storyline perhaps in all of wrestling right now. TGS with a $3 super chat says, Halloween shows suck now. No trick or treat. And by the way, somebody had commented about the fingernails. I got them right here. The Freddy fingernails. They are part of the act, but I'm right-handed, and I kind of need my right hand to do this video. And no, you sickos, don't even go there. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, hey, Aaron Kruger, what's good in the hood? A lot is good in the hood. And by the way, shout out, make sure you guys watch Killers with Attitude on YouTube. I love that video with Freddie and Jason doing some rapping. Great stuff. We had our first match of the evening, which was Kevin Owens versus Dolph, formerly Record Scratch Ziggler. Bobby Roode was out there with Ziggler. And in this match, it was all about who would be going on to be part of Team SmackDown at Survivor Series. The best of the best. That's the tagline for this show. Best of the best, you know, because they have to have a tagline for every single show. Ziggler acted like he was hurt, and when the referee was distracted, Roode took a cheap shot at Owens, threw Owens back into the ring, which the referee saw, and the referee threw Roode out of the building for the remainder of the match. And after the commercial break, Owens went for the pop-up powerbomb, but Ziggler countered into a Fameasser for a near fall. And after several near fall exchanges, Owens finally got the stunner on to Ziggler and picked up the 1-2-3 victory. No shock here. I mean, did anybody actually think the Dolph Ziggler had a chance of winning this match? I was like, come on now. Ziggler, doesn't matter what brand he's on, he's putting over other people. That is Dolph Ziggler's legacy in WWE, putting over others. It's not about what they can do for him, it's what he can do for them. We had Natalya backstage talking to Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, who is the authority in WWE right now, I guess. She wanted to be the team captain of SmackDown for the women's elimination match, but so did Billie Kay, and Billie Kay even had her resume. Bianca Belair came in, said she wanted to be the captain because she is the EST, and Pierce was like, well, 3 people coming in, I guess we'll do a triple threat match. Whoever wins will be added to the match and will be the team captain. We had Corey Graves interviewing Lars. I'm not sure if he's Lars Sullivan or if he's just Lars now, and I really don't care. Graves offended Lars because Lars was thinking that Corey was going to call him the Freak, but didn't. Lars got offended by this, that Corey Graves called him Lars and not the Freak. Lars talked about being called the Freak and mentioned that when he was a child, kids would make fun of him, call him a freak, and nobody came to his aid. He cried, everybody laughed at him, and then 20 minutes later, the laughter stopped, but the screaming continued for hours. And he said he is going to make WWE his personal playground and his personal hell on earth. I do not know about you guys, but I think it's best if Lars does not talk. It's not his strong point. Let's just put it that way. I think he's better off going out there and beating up people and not cutting promos. We had Bianca Belair come out, and by the way, I agree with Dr. NXT Scorpio that Lars needs a manager, definitely in this case. Managers were made for guys like Lars Sullivan. Let's be real here. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, do you think Lars Sullivan is actually a creep? Well, are you talking about in storyline or in real life? Real life, I've never met the guy, so I couldn't tell you. Only we could go by what is said on the internet about him and the stuff that's been posted. And as far as his character goes, I guess the idea is that, yeah, he is a creep. We had Bianca Belair make her entrance, and we had a commercial break. And when we came back, we had Bianca in the ring, and then we cut away to a Seth Rollins and Murphy recap. And backstage, we had Murphy and Aaliyah Mysterio. Aaliyah said that her mom is okay with them being in a relationship. She just wants Aaliyah to be happy. However, Ray and Dominic will not talk to her. They are very upset, and Murphy said he's not the same person that he once was, and he will apologize. Why was this in between Bianca Belair's entrance? This is one of the things I do not like about WWE programming. Like, somebody comes out for their match, and then you have a total different segment, and that person is just standing in the ring waiting for their match. Like, why just not do it, you know? Show the stuff with Rollins and Murphy after the match. How about that? It just doesn't really make sense to me. I guess it just bothers me. The one and only Caleb Jacobs with a $2.68 super chat. Thank you for that, Caleb. He says, Kurt Angle was Lars's first victim, a.k.a. the main roster. I'm surprised you remember that, Caleb. I sure as hell did not remember that. Hey, maybe you could give Greg Cherry a run for his money as Wrestling Trivia Champion. Just saying. I mean, you remember things that I have forgotten about. So you might stand a chance against the longest Wrestling Trivia Champion in history. Mariquan 1976 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. He says, the Ray and Angie divorce coming soon to Friday Night SmackDown. Well, I'm wondering if we're going to get an Aaliyah Mysterio pregnancy angle, but we'll talk more about that here in a few minutes. We finally had the match, the triple threat match with the ladies. Natalya put the sharpshooter on Belair, and then Billie Kay came in and did her own submission at the same time onto Belair. So 2 submissions at once, which means if Bianca tapped out, there'd be no winner or it'd be a draw and they'd have to do another match. Natalya was pissed off about this, so she let go of the hold, went after Billy, and Billy later tried to pin Bianca using the ropes. That did not work. And in the end, it was Belair picking up the victory with the kiss of death onto Billy. Fine match here. No real complaints. Right person won. You're building up Bianca right now. She's the one that's pretty hot. So you go with her. You set her up as the team captain for Survivor Series. I like it. We had Carmella in a vignette. She talked about how she is going to do whatever it takes to get ahead. She had a camera, a Polaroid camera, and some champagne, and said next week she's going to prove that she is untouchable. I really do not care much about this. I think that it's an angle that's going to likely have a short shelf life, similar to what we saw with Emelina and so forth. We had Murphy and Aaliyah come into the ring for their segment, and Murphy said he understands why Rey and Dominic do not like him. He wanted to apologize face to face. Rey and Dominic did not come out. Rey Mysterio came out, Seth Rollins came out instead and talked about how Rey and Dominic are never going to forgive him. However, he will forgive Murphy, and he accepts Aaliyah as well. He accepts both of them. Rollins said he's not the bad guy and that Rey Mysterio just forced his hand. He then talked about how he thinks Rey is controlling Aaliyah, and talked about how Dominic is nothing but a coward. This led to Dominic getting into the ring, attacking Rollins. Murphy then pulled off Dominic and went after Rollins himself. Dominic did not like that, and he went after Murphy, and they started fighting. Rey Mysterio ran down, defended his son, going after Murphy. And Rey Mysterio was going to hit the 619, but Aaliyah got in the way, saving her boyfriend from her dad. And she talked about how she loves Murphy and isn't going to leave with Rey and Dominic. Rey was very upset about this, and he asked one more time on the outside of the ring, but Aaliyah responded by kissing Murphy, picking her side. And meanwhile, Seth Rollins was at the top of the stage, smiling, very happy at what was going on here, the dissension and turmoil amongst the Mysterio family. Rollins was very much enjoying this. Justin Brosnan with a €5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. He says, if they pushed Big Show into the title picture and then he turns heel, eventually it will shock the world and boost ratings. That's all we need. That's all the world needs. That's what 2020 needs, is another Big Show turn. It's been way too long. I mean, you might as well own it at this point. Big Show needs to come back and turn every single chance. That should be his legacy. Big Show, the guy that he is back and forth. He has that split personality. One minute he's a lovable giant. The next minute he's a vicious giant. I say yes. For the sake of humanity, he must come back and turn heel once again, and we will have those record-breaking ratings, baby. Backstage, we had Daniel Bryan prepared for Jey Uso. He cut a promo, said that Jey Uso did not give up to Roman Reigns. He only said, I quit because of what happened to Jimmy, and Jey Uso's at his best. And Bryan said whoever wins is the best person for Team SmackDown. And by the way, real quick, I would like to just say on video, happy birthday to Virtue, the greatest troll slayer of all time, and my fiance Caitlin. They both have their birthday on October 30th. Quite an interesting day today for sure, very memorable one. So Thank you guys that left comments on social media. I do appreciate it. Let's move on here to the Street Profits. They came out to the ring, cut a promo, and talked about the New Day imitating them, and they said imitation is the highest form of flattery. They talked about how they're not going to be serving bootios or pancakes at Survivor Series, but rather they're going to be serving L's to the New Day, and they're going to be taking the torch, and they will show at Survivor Series they are the best of the best. The Profits faced Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. Good match here. The highlight for me was when they were fighting on the outside of the ring. Cesaro picked up Montez Ford and just launched him over the barricade. Ford got this incredible hang time in the air. He just got totally launched into the air all the way to the outside by the Thunderdome virtual fans. That was nuts. That was maybe the craziest spot of the week. I mean, NXT had a couple memorable moments like Damian Priest going through the crypt. But this was right up there. This was nuts. TJS with a $1 super chat, leaving a piece of cake. So I'm sure Caitlin and Virtue will appreciate that. And Dustin says, happy birthday. This is my mom's 59th birthday. She's been gone for 8 years. Sorry about that, Dustin. And thank you for the comment. Dustin says, cake makes me hungry. And Ma W is still on the Big Show. He says, Big Show needs to have his last match as a heel and then turn face. Yeah, you could do that. Or just have him go out as a heel just for the hell of it. Why not? Not everybody has to leave as a hero, right? We had the match continue after the commercials. Somehow, Montez Ford got back into it. And Dawkins hit a superplex to Shinsuke Nakamura after taking care of Cesaro. And then Ford came off the top with a super frog splash. I mean, again, this dude can get some serious hang time. I would call it the 840 frog splash, twice as high, to pick up the win. So Street Profits building up some momentum heading into the pay-per-view. And then we had Sami Zayn backstage cutting a promo about Bobby Lashley at Survivor Series. It's U.S. champion versus IC champion. And unlike Lashley, who is just the champion of one country, Sami Zayn said he is a champion of the people and a champion of every country. Hey, that's a very valid point. I mean, yeah, the IC title would represent everyone. U.S. just represents U.S. He's right, you know. But with that being said, I really do not care about this match. I have little to no interest in this match. I mean, come on now. Is this going to be anything other than a Bobby Lashley squash? Let's be real here. I suppose we could have Lashley's sisters interfere and help Sami Zayn, but like, why damage Lashley like that? Lashley beat up T-Bar. So he's elevated at a very high level right now. So really, it should be a quick win for the Hurt Business bodyguard or whatever he's supposed to be. What's the term they use for Lashley? He's the front and center, the CEO of the Hurt Business. Is that it? Whatever it is, Lashley should not be losing to Sami Zayn. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, will Lashley's sisters show up at Survivor Series? They might as well. You might as well just run with the joke now. I mean, everyone thinks about it. It's still talked about, so nobody's going to take this match seriously anyway, so you might as well have some fun with it. Mike B with a $1 super chat left a cat emoji. It is Halloween weekend. Thank you for that, Mike B. We had Sasha Banks come to the ring to celebrate her victory at Hell in a Cell. She's the new SmackDown Women's Champion. She had Bayley's chair as her souvenir of her victory. She thanked Bayley for stabbing her in the back because it made her realize it wasn't the friendship that was unstoppable. it was her, Sasha Banks. She talked about Asuka. She said that she's going to win because she's the best of the best. Again, everybody has to use the tagline. It sounds very forced and feels like people reading off of a script. I'm not a fan of it personally. Bayley appeared with a pretty cool t-shirt, a little play on The Rock's phrase, know your role. Her shirt said, know your role model, and had her logo below. I like it. Nice shirt. One of the better ones from WWE, I have to say. And Bayley said that Sasha might have won the title, but she cannot hang on to a title. Story checks out. And Bayley said that Sasha cannot beat Asuka without her in the corner. And as a result, in order for SmackDown to win, Bayley needs to be the champ. So Bayley challenged Sasha to a rematch for next week's show and warned Bayley to, or just advised her to enjoy her 13-day reign as champion. Sasha said, bring whatever Bayley has, because backstabbing bitches never win. This was fine. I'm guessing next week Sasha will retain and not continue her streak of losing in her first title defense. JSpin401 says Survivor Series has become a glorified bragging rights pay-per-view. Yeah, pretty much. I really wish they would have some kind of stipulation where the winning brand gets something, like they get to pick somebody to join their brand, or somebody gets, if Raw wins, Raw gets the number 1 spot or number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble, and SmackDown gets the number 1 spot. Something like that. Like, put something on the line for this pay-per-view so we have a reason to care about who wins. Because otherwise, like, the whole bragging rights, brand supremacy, like, who gives a shit? We then had our main event, Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. And Jey was more aggressive in this match. Roman Reigns came down to ringside to watch. Bryan put on the label lock, but Jey got to the rope, and then pretty much out of nowhere, this match went a bit shorter than I was expecting, and a little less back and forth than I was expecting. I was figuring this would be a very intense battle, but it was almost a glorified squash. I mean, Bryan did get in some offense, but pretty much out of nowhere, Jey hit him with a super kick, went to the top, hit the Uso splash, which is not quite as impressive as Ford's splash. So maybe Uso should get a different finisher. I don't know. But Jey pinned Bryan clean in the middle. 1, 2, 3. After the match, Reigns got into the ring, and he gave this look to Jey, and Jey, he finally said it. Reigns is the head of the table. And then he super kicked Bryan, attacked Bryan viciously after the match, yelled that he understands now. He understands what is going on and what this is all about. He's going with the greater good, you know, trying to stand tall with the head of the table and stand behind him, do his bidding. He threw Bryan into the steps and then cleared off the announce table, put Bryan on the table, went up to the top and did the Uso splash through the announce table, and then he continued to throw punches at Bryan and then started smashing Bryan's head into the table, the broken table. Reigns took his leave at this point and had this very subtle look, but a clear one, clear enough where you could tell he was satisfied. It was just this look of, a very slight look of satisfaction that Jey has finally done the right thing. So really strong ending here to SmackDown. I figured this was going to happen with Jey going heel, but kind of just transitioning into it. I thought this was a strong show overall. I did enjoy SmackDown. Not the best SmackDown, but it was pretty solid. So as a result, I'm going to give it a solid B. Good SmackDown this week. The Reigns and Jey Uso stuff, definitely worth checking out. Street Profits match was pretty good. I would recommend checking that out. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat says, will Roman Reigns call out Daniel Bryan for the 2015 Royal Rumble and the reactions he got afterwards? He could call out fans for choosing Bryan over Roman. I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but I would like to see Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at some point. I think that Bryan is arguably the biggest full-time babyface star on SmackDown right now to challenge Reigns, because, I mean, who do you really have besides Bryan? I mean, you got Big E, but you got to build up Big E. You don't want to do that match too soon. You want to save that for a little bit down the line. I think Bryan should be very angry and try to go through Jey Uso to get to Roman Reigns, and then maybe a TLC you could do Reigns versus Bryan, and then maybe do a rematch at the Royal Rumble, or bring in somebody else to face Reigns, whether it's John Cena or Goldberg, something like that, and then hopefully get The Rock for WrestleMania. That would be a really strong lineup for Roman Reigns leading into WrestleMania. Like, if he could go through Bryan and then Cena or Goldberg, or maybe both, and then The Rock, like that would be a nice run there for Roman Reigns as a heel. Get him in there with some of those top names and culminate with that match with The Rock. But, you know, it's all a big question mark at this point. We just don't know what's going to happen as far as, will The Rock be able to, because of the potential injury that he could suffer? Will the studios allow him to do the match? Will Rock take some time off to do the match and not commit to projects? Will there be fans for WrestleMania? I mean, the Super Bowl appears to be having 25% capacity, so maybe WrestleMania will have 25% capacity, or will COVID cases keep spiking, and will they have to do a show with no fans again? Hard to say what's going to happen for WrestleMania. Everything very much up in the air. I mean, of course it will happen. We just don't know what the presentation is going to be and what the top matches are going to be, other than probably Edge versus Randy Orton for the title. Dustin Herrick with a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Dustin. I appreciate it. He says, thank you guys for the words. It's tough to lose ones we love. All we can do is smile for them while we are still here. Happy birthday, guys. Great outfit, Rift. What nightmares are made of. Show seemed okay. I appreciate that again, Dustin. Thank you. And sorry about your loss. My dad died at 58, so, you know, it's tough. You want them to live into their 80s, 90s. Doesn't always happen. You have to enjoy the moments that you have with your loved ones while you can, because nothing's a guarantee, unfortunately. So stay positive, my friend, and remember the good times. And yeah, SmackDown was a good show. I wouldn't say it was as good as NXT by any stretch, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy SmackDown, and SmackDown's streak of good shows continues, which is funny because it appears that they're writing SmackDown at the last minute, and they're putting these shows together without much thought process. But I don't know if it's Daniel Bryan's influence or Triple H's influence, but the SmackDown shows have been really solid, and they've definitely turned the corner since Roman Reigns came back and we had the Thunderdome era start. It just feels like SmackDown has been better in terms of quality, more so than it was earlier this year. Raw is still kind of a mess, though. But then again, you got a 3-hour show, and that's more of a challenge to put together, especially on a day's notice if they're changing the script at the very last minute. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. Please give this video a like. Give it a thumbs up. If you don't, I'm going to tell Freddy to haunt your dreams. So please spread the word. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Be safe. Stay positive. And I will see you guys next time.